Welcome back to Classic Cultures. Today we're going to be recapping the 2024 Rose Bowl, Alabama versus Michigan. Really big game. Obviously, we had our predictions set in 2 days ago before the game started. You guys saw all of those. I was completely wrong. But before we get into kind of dissecting the game and recapping it, please, if you're new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload. We're going to be going live here in about an hour after this video is uploaded to recap both games. And when I say both, I mean the Washington-Texas game as well, the one that's going on right now. So we look forward to seeing you guys then. But as always, like I said, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Help us get to that 1,000 subscriber mark where we can give away that signed Heisman jersey. But nonetheless, Dad, how do you feel about that Alabama-Michigan game?
Yeah, man. I think in the famous words of Coach Dennis Green, Michigan is who we thought they were. Michigan went to exactly what it is they are, right? Not a big passing game, and really kind of from either team. Michigan won the game the way Michigan wins games, in the trenches. They dominated. That defensive front dominated the Alabama defensive front. Something like 5-6 sacks, I think, and just some big key plays. They were able to stop Alabama. So kudos to Michigan. They stuck tried and true to who they were, and they were able to win a playoff game with that. Obviously, Alabama put up a heck of a fight. Alabama is a good team as well. Obviously, a very formidable opponent. I don't think there was much separation between these two teams. I thought they were both very good teams. Some unfortunate miscues. The snapping thing that Alabama probably needs to get fixed really cost them field position and some drives. They had a drive where it was going really well. 2 bad snaps in a row, and they were in like 3rd and 30 on a drive where they were moving the ball. So they lost some momentum. Same thing with Michigan. Michigan had a bunch of special teams errors. The punt returner fumbled 2 different punts, one giving Alabama the ball very close. They missed an extra point. So all of those things, and this just shows at this level of football, the small things may be the difference between winning and losing. So kudos to Michigan. Obviously, I'm a big Ohio State fan. I didn't care who won this game because I hate both teams. But so I guess at least as a Big Ten fan, we could take a little pride in saying at the biggest in the biggest stage, our best team beat the SEC's best team. But this was neck and neck. This was a very good game. Michigan won, being exactly who Michigan is, a power run team with a very good defense. What's your thoughts?
So obviously, I don't have a horse in the race. I don't have a rival in the race either. Obviously, you hate Michigan, and you really don't like the SEC either. I don't really. The only team I hate is Florida State and South Carolina. It's the only 2 teams that I really don't like. So I just wanted to see good football. And those of you guys who saw the preview we did for this game, I thought Alabama was going to win this game 37-27. I relied heavily on that prediction based on Nick Saban and his success in the first 7 semifinal games he's played in, being they only lost 1 of those games. And I was on record as well saying it's just very hard to beat him when he has 30 days to prepare for you. And I feel like he's the greatest of all time when it comes to coaches. We saw Michigan fail twice in the semifinal. So I leaned more so on Nick Saban's experience and kind of his knack to get the job done when it matters. I mean, I was wrong. I think it's funny because in the beginning of the year, I was so beat in on Michigan and how I felt that they were the most.
So what point did you come off of that?
Well, I just think, like I said, I thought Alabama was a really hot team heading into like week, the last 2 to 3 games in the regular season. And then obviously the game against Georgia winning and then having the 30 days. So I just felt like if Michigan were to play one of these other 2 teams, I mean, I said from the jump, to me, the winner of this game is the national champion. I don't think the other 2 teams are going to be able to beat Michigan. Personally,
I disagree.
I just don't think that because of the style of play Michigan plays. I think they're able to physically weigh in on their opponent. And I think Alabama's, front 5 or 5 and then front 7 would have the best chance against this Michigan offensive defensive line, because I don't think Washington is going to be able to match up with them in 4 quarters. I think it'll be close throughout the game, but I just think the same thing with Texas. I just think Michigan is way too physical up front, and that's why I thought that this game, the winner of this game, was going to win it all. And I've been on record saying that as well. I personally just thought it was going to be Alabama because of Nick Saban. But like I said earlier in the year, in the preseason, even in the first couple of weeks, I said Michigan was the most complete team. So I don't know why. Like I said, I just think it's the Saban factor. I think because Nick Saban and his success in the playoffs and the postseason in general, it just kind of persuaded me that I just didn't see a situation where they were going to lose. Obviously, I had them winning by double digits. Am I surprised Michigan won the game? No, because like I said from the jump, I thought they were the most complete team in all of college football.
Yeah.
But I just thought that when you're talking about winning one game, I just favored Alabama, even though obviously they're an underdog. But I do think Michigan is a more complete team than Alabama. Obviously, they're a little bit more proven when you're talking about position by position because they brought back so many veteran players compared to Alabama losing a lot. And, obviously Milroe taking Bryce Young's spot, McCarthy coming back. So it's very interesting. But to me, this was one of the most entertaining playoff games I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had the Georgia Alabama game where Tua threw the game-winning touchdown. We had the Deshaun Watson game-winning touchdown. We had a few close games, Alabama being Clemson 45-40. But I don't know, something about this game is like literally from the kickoff. It was like, I wouldn't say fireworks because it wasn't explosive plays nonstop, but it was like tick for tack, back and forth.
Yeah.
You really didn't know who was going to win the game. When in a lot of these games, it's kind of decided early. And I mean, Michigan was down 7 with 4 minutes left, forces overtime, gets ball for scores, and then gets a stop. So
this game
was really good.
This game has some big momentum swings. I think even as we were talking, the first interception and then that get overturned. Michigan comes out, then punts. Alabama moves the ball right down the field and scores. And at that point, you're kind of like, oh man, Alabama may really have their number. But then Michigan goes right down the field and scores right back. And then you kind of seen, hey, they put, and like I said, there were probably 3 or 4 points in this game where you thought one team was really going to take off. And it never really happened. It never, they stayed close. There were a couple of drives there late where Alabama had to settle for field goals where, if they could have punched it in, would have been the difference. But man, what a game. What a game. And this is one of those games where you look at it and you say, if they played 10 times, this may go 5-5. These were 2 very evenly matched teams. Jalen Milroe was able to do things with his legs, which I think really helped Alabama. But man, that Alabama front is something serious. The holes they were able to create for Blake Corum, he went 19 for 83 for a touchdown. But more importantly, that defensive front made Jalen Milroe's day really hard. If they weren't sacking him, pressure, he had to move, he had to scramble, he had to get out of the pocket. They did not make life easy for him. And it's funny because I would have thought that would have been something that Alabama would have been a little bit more better prepared for, knowing that that's who Michigan is.
Yeah, it was a very good game, obviously. But kind of looking ahead just a bit, if you're not a Michigan fan, but I'm saying if you're Michigan, is there a team that you feel more comfortable playing into the national championship game, being Washington or Texas?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say Texas only because I think Texas is a little bit more, like Washington is a spread them out type team. And I think that may be where Michigan is a little bit more susceptible. Washington has 4 good receivers. I don't think Michigan has the defensive backs to match up each one of those guys. I think what Michigan is more what Texas is, which is, hey, let's play in the trenches a little bit. I think and again, I'm not going to say Michigan can't win that game. I'm not going to say Michigan won't win that game. I'm sure they're going to be favored. But I think stylistically, Washington kind of plays to maybe one of their weaknesses, which is going to be, hey, let's get the ball out to good receivers, get them in space, and try to beat them that way. Because again, I don't think you're going to play in the trenches with Michigan. So I think they match up well with both teams. I wouldn't be surprised if they're the favorite over both teams. But if I was them and I was just picking based off of style, now again, I think they have to feel comfortable with either one of these teams. But if I was picking based off style, I'd much rather play Texas.
Yeah, I agree. I think Texas would be the more fitting matchup for them. But at the same time, I think they could probably lean heavy run game wise against Washington rather than Texas. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Whether you want to play I wouldn't even say Texas is a less prolific offense, but I mean they are, but they're not a bad offense by any means.
No,
but they're just not Washington. And I think Texas's front seven on defense is a little bit better. So I'm just hoping we get a really good game. Obviously, it's 14-14 in the Texas-Washington game in the Sugar Bowl right now. We're going to be recapping that game as well. That video is going to drop tomorrow. But please, if you are watching this, during this game and you haven't seen the live show yet, please, we're going to go live in about an hour and a half when that game is done. So we look forward to seeing you guys then. And as always, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload. We're going to be getting into the recaps as soon as this weekend is over, really. And then we're going to be doing the live show after the national championship game. So please let us know in the comment section who you guys want to see, what teams you want to see us recap. But we will see you guys at the live show here in a little bit and tomorrow during the Texas-Washington recap. Peace out, everybody.
Absolutely.